So, with that out of the way, just like it's hard to go first, it's kind of hard to go first out of the break. So, please, big round of applause, a lot of energy for Steve. Let him hear it.
Many years ago, I was in this relationship with this beautiful girl from Mexico, and it was probably one of the nicest relationships of my life, even now. And when it was, she eventually had to go back to Mexico for her studies, and I was very depressed for a long time. And I was kind of just moping around. And I decided to just, do the old, I need to take a trip. So I took the old dart, and threw it at a map of Mexico, because I thought, I'm going to go to her home country and just kind of see the things she talked about, and it's going to kind of clear the slate. I'll be redeemed. I'll start fresh. So the dart landed on Oaxaca, Oaxaca, Oaxaca. And I went to one of these little, in the LA Weekly used to have these like viajes, these travel agencies. And I bought a ticket, round trip ticket to Oaxaca, Mexico. And before I went, I got one of those Lonely Planet guides, and I talked to friends, and they were like, don't drink the water. Don't drink the water. Even the Lonely Planet, which is kind of a touchy-feely little book, was like, don't drink the water. Don't even have ice on the plane, because that might have been ice made from Mexico, and you're going to have Montezuma's revenge. So I was really paranoid about it, and when I got on the plane to go to Mexico City, I was kind of a jerk to the to the stewardess, because she was like, would you like a Coke? And I was like, no ice from Mexico. And so I was obsessive about it. And I flew into Mexico City, then I took the connecting flight to Oaxaca, took the cab in. And then I also, someone had told me years before that when you travel, you have more fun the less money you pay. The less money you spend. I've since revised that to you have a more memorable experience the less money you spend. But I looked in the Lonely Planet guide and I found what turned out to be the second cheapest hotel in that Lonely Planet guide. It was, I think, $4.50 a night. And they had a thing where, the bed was like, it wasn't even like springs, it was more like one of those kind of military things, just like a metal web of something to put that thin mattress on. And it did not have hot and cold running water. You went to the front desk, and they gave you this newspaper with these wood chips, and it was wrapped up in a ball. And you would take it to your room, and you'd shove it in the wall. And you'd light it on fire, and above it was this, coffee can-sized thing that would heat up the water in there, and then you'd have to, time it to take your shower. And you'd jump in while there's hot water, and you'd quick take your shower and get out before it got cold again. So I was living on the cheap. I was ready for an adventure. So also, this is back in the day. So I had American Express traveler's checks. So I had to settle into town. I go into the Zocala, is the center of town in Oaxaca. And I went to the American Express office. And I was feeling kind of like, I was on an adventure. And I saw this woman coming out of the office. And she had an I Love New York t-shirt or something. And I wasn't even being witty. I just said something, what, are you from New York? Or just something like that. I was just saying something. But she seemed really tickled by it. I went in, I got my money, exchanged. I came out, she was still there. So I started talking to her, and next thing you know, we had dinner together. And I'm thinking, I'm on vacation, right? I'm going to make my move. So we take a walk, and I held her hand. And you could tell she was put off by it, but she kind of was like, I guess she was on vacation too, so she allowed me to do it. So we walked more and more through Oaxaca. Then I'm like, oh, take a stab at kissing her. I kissed her. Next thing you know, we're making out. Next thing you know, I'm telling her, let's go back to my hotel. So we go back to my $4.50 hotel. And we were kind of making out in there. And eventually she's like, you know what? This isn't really, a nice place. Let's go to my place. I have a hotel in the Zocala. So we go back to the Zocala. And she was in this really nice hotel. And so we go up there. And, I'm young and healthy. I go at it several times and all that stuff. I was feeling good. And I just want to reinforce how grateful I was for getting laid in Oaxaca. So we go into the shower together. And I'm like, wanting to pleasure her down below the equator. And I'm down there, and I'm really giving it my best, and all of a sudden, it crosses my mind. The water's rushing down her body, right into my throat. So, but I couldn't stop. So, I finished, stuck it out, and then, but I was aware, I was thinking it the whole time. The next day, she was like, well, I'm going to go on to, I think it was called Oaxaca or something. It was some beachside community, because I was just in the town of Oaxaca. And I was like, no, I'm just staying in Oaxaca. So she went up to the beach place, and the next day I was walking around, and I was like, oh, my God. And I went to a pharmacy, and I bought some Imodium, and it stopped things up, and I guess that was the first time I ever had Imodium. So that's my story. Thank you.